Hi Rossi babes, and welcome back to our channel. We're so happy you decided to join us in today's video. In today's video, I will be teaching y'all two different ombre methods that are so simple and easy to achieve using our Rossi Nails Glam Powder. I know the word ombre may sound intimidating, but I promise you it is so simple and easy to achieve, and it's so effortless, especially the techniques that I like to do and will be sharing with y'all. And of course, with Valentine's Day around the corner, we're going to be incorporating a lot of reds and pinks and glitters, literally all of my favorite colors. I love pink, I love red, such as these to achieve our Valentine's Day inspired ombre manicures, which are actually some of the colors I have on my nails right now. And I am wearing one of the Ombre method manicures that I will be sharing in today's video. And before we get started with today's video, don't forget to subscribe to our channel down below and also turn on our notifications so that way you can be notified every time we post a new video, because trust me, you don't want to miss them. So now without further ado, let's get started. Alright Rossi babes, so first things first, I'm going to be prepping my natural nail, and to do this, I'm just going to be gently pushing back my cuticles, and this is just going to give our manicure that clean look and help prevent dip powder from getting on our cuticles. And for both of the ombre methods, I will be using nail tips, which you can see I already have glued on. Nail tips are optional, but I will be showing y'all how I like to do my dip powder when I have nail tips on. I will now be taking my Rossi Nails 150 edge nail file and just using this to very gently remove the shine off of my natural nail. Now our last step to prep our natural nail is to apply our step 1 primer, which is going to remove any excess oils from our natural nails in order to prevent lifting. So now our nails are prepped and ready to start dipping. I will now be taking our step 2 base coat as well as our clear dip powder, and you're probably wondering why I'm using clear dip powder first instead of our colored dip powders, and that is because I like to first build some structure to my nail, or what you may also call an apex. When working with nail tips, I find it important to build structure to our nail just to make sure that our nails don't break and that they don't look flat from the side. So in order to build an apex or build structure on your nail, it is super simple. I first take my step 2 base coat and just apply it where the nail tip and my natural nail meet, and then dip into my clear dip powder at a 45-degree angle and tap off any excess powder. I like to wait until I have all of the rest of my nails done before brushing off the powder just to ensure that it is completely dry. So then I will be repeating the following steps onto the rest of my nails. So now that I have the first layer of clear on all of my nails, it's important to always brush off your powder to prevent cross-contaminating your base coat. So we're now going to be doing a second dip into our clear dip powder, and this time I'm going to be applying my base coat to about half of my nail and then dipping into my jar at a 45-degree angle. Now dusting away all the excess powder from our nails. So now for our third and final dip into our clear dip powder, I'm going to be applying our base coat to about 3/4 of our nail. And you can of course always do 2 dips into the clear dip powder, but I prefer to do 3. I will now be taking our step 3 activator now that I have our 3 layers of clear dip powder finished, and applying this onto the part of my nail that has the clear dip powder. It's important to apply activator to your nail after building the structure just to make sure that all of the layers are dry before we apply any color. After a minute of my activator completely being dry, I'm going to be taking my Rossi 150 edge nail file and just doing a quick file to ensure that my nail is even and smooth, so that way we can have an even dip powder color application. So now let's move on to the fun part and start dipping our nails. For our first dip powder ombre technique, I will be taking the shade Cotton and Sugar Rush and twisting our jar just to move the dip powder product around to make sure that there are no clumps that may get in the way when doing our dip powder. And the shade Cotton is going to be such a pretty baby pink color. And then I also have the shade Sugar Rush, which is going to be a rose gold glitter color, and it's going to look so perfect combined with the shade Cotton. So in order to do our first ombre technique, I'm going to be taking my base coat and applying it to 3/4 of my nail, and we are going to be dipping into our solid shade, which is the shade Cotton. After I have my first layer of dip powder applied to 3/4 of my nail, I'm going to be gently dusting away all the excess powder. Now for my second and final dip into this colored powder, I'm going to be taking my base coat and applying it a hairline away from my cuticle area and dipping into my powder at a 45-degree angle. So now that we have 2 dips of our solid color on, it's time to start doing our glitter ombre, which is super easy. So I'm first going to be taking my base coat and just applying it all over my nail like so. And before that base coat dries, I'm then going to be taking a nail art brush to pick up the glitter dip powder and just sprinkling that to about half of our nail. I like to hold my brush and just gently tap my finger against the brush to release some of the glitter onto the nail. I don't like to tap too hard, just to prevent too much glitter falling off of the brush and just going places I don't want it to. So I like to gently tap to have more control over where the glitter is falling. And we of course have to encapsulate that glitter, so I'm just going to be pouring my clear dip powder over my nail and now repeating that process to the rest of my nails. This is how the glitter ombre looks. We're now going to be applying our step 3 activator once again, just to protect the color and the glitter when we file. And then filing our nails just to make sure that they are smooth and even, that there are no bumps. Then applying activator one more time. And now applying our step 4 top coat all over our nails to give us that glossy finish. And then letting that air dry for 2 minutes or until completely dry. And then going in with my top coat one more time just to get that extra glossy finish. And lastly, applying our Honey Peach Cuticle Oil onto our cuticles. And that completes our first dip powder ombre technique. Now do you believe me when I said how simple and effortless this was? So simple and beginner friendly. I love this ombre technique not only because of how easy it is, but because of how the solid color makes the glitter pop without making the glitter too overwhelming, and just adding the perfect pop of sparkle to your manicure and making it fun. Now let's move on to our second dip powder ombre technique, which is going to be a vertical glitter ombre, and I promise it's still simple. So we're using the shades That's Amore and Back to Pink. These colors are going to look so gorgeous combined together. And I'm still working with my nail tips. I just went ahead and reshaped them to an almond shape, and I do already have the structure of my nail built, which I showed how to do at the beginning of the video. So starting off our second dip powder ombre technique, I'm going to be taking the shade Back to Pink and applying our base coat to 3/4 of our nail and then dipping into the powder at a 45-degree angle. Now for my middle finger, I will be taking the shade That's Amore and applying my base coat to 3/4 of my nail as well and dipping into my powder at a 45-degree angle. And then going back to the shade Back to Pink for my pointer finger and my thumb as well. And in just a second, you'll see how the vertical glitter ombre will tie in, which will explain why our middle finger has the red glitter shade. Now for our second and last dip into our shades, I'm going to be taking my base coat and applying it a hairline away from my cuticle area and dipping into my powder at a 45-degree angle. So this is now what we have after we have our 2 dips of color on, and now we're just going to be brushing away all the excess powder. So now let's do our vertical glitter ombre. So I'm going to be applying my base coat all over my nail, and while the base is still wet, I'm going to be taking a nail art brush and just picking up some of the red glitter dip powder and sprinkling this onto the left side of my ring finger, and still doing light tapping motions against the brush just like I did in the first method, and then taking my clear dip powder to encapsulate that glitter and the color as well. And repeating that process on my index finger, but this time sprinkling the powder on the right side of my nail. So now this is how our vertical glitter ombre looks, and now we're going to be encapsulating the rest of our nails that we didn't encapsulate in clear. Now applying step 3 activator all over our nail to harden the dip powder layers as well as protect our nail when we file. After we've allowed our activator to air dry for a minute, we're now ready to start filing. And just a tip, if you can't tell when your activator is completely dry, you can always tap your nail file against your nail, and if you hear a tapping noise, that means it's dry and ready to be filed. After I have my nails filed and buffed out, I'm going to be applying my step 3 activator one more time before we apply our step 4 top coat. So now we're ready to apply our step 4 top coat, so we're just going to be applying one thin layer first and letting that air dry for 2 minutes. Once completely dried, I'm going to be applying a second layer of top coat just to give my nails that extra glossy look that I love. And after that's completely air dried, we're ready for cuticle oil. And this completes our second dip powder ombre technique, which is specifically known as a vertical glitter ombre. I'm in love with both of these colors combined. I feel like they just complement each other so well. And I just love the vertical glitter ombre and how it ombres into our middle finger, which is full of the red glitter shade. This is another one of my favorites and super simple ombre technique. So that completes today's video and 2 different methods you can do to achieve an ombre manicure using your Rossi Glam powder. And before you leave, don't forget to subscribe to our channel down below so you don't miss out on any other uploads. And also let us know in the comments below your thoughts on the manicures, as well as which manicure was your favorite and which ombre technique you'll be achieving for your next manicure, because we'd love to know. And don't forget to check out our social medias so you can maybe find your next manicure inspo, and also tag us in your manicure because we'd love to see all the beautiful manicures you all create using our Rossi products. But thank you all so much for watching, and we will see y'all in our next video. Bye Rossi babes!